Bill Maher just absolutely destroyed Donald J. Trump. And trust me, it gets personal. Let's unpack this.
Yeah, the Kennedy Center is not something I really care a lot about, but I do care that an American president doesn't see anything wrong with him personally taking it over, or that his communications director, Stephen Chung, said it was justified because Trump, quote, is a virtuoso and his musical choices represent a brilliant palette of vibrant colors when others often paint in pale pastels. And these bills they've introduced to make Trump's birthday a holiday and put him on currency and Mount Rushmore, this is not what we do here, guys. He's still in office, for God's sake. Can we see how it turns out before we put him on a stamp?
Donald Trump just got symphonically humiliated. Bill Maher didn't just roast him, he straight up composed an overture of mockery. And apparently, Trump thinks he's the Mozart of MAGA now? A virtuoso? Please. This is the same guy who thought windmills cause cancer. The only thing he's orchestrated is chaos. And the cherry on top? They're trying to slap his face on Mount Rushmore and turn his birthday into a national holiday like he's a Cheeto-colored George Washington. Let's pump the brakes before we start carving him into cliffs. The man's still out here pretending Diet Coke is a personality. Ready for Maher to crank it up another notch. Watch this.
Dance like Trump now? They name weapons systems after him. They've even dressed like him with the trademark suit and tie.
So now it's not just cult behavior, it's cosplay. Weapons named after him? What's next? The tactical orange spray tan bomb trademark. They're strutting around in MAGA drag like it's some twisted national pageant, all to mimic a guy who thinks the nuclear triad is a 3-course meal. And Maher, he's done watching this circus. He's had enough of Trump's greatest hits. And spoiler alert, they're all off key. Stick around. Maher was far from over. This guy is a genius.
President McDowell wants to name Dulles Airport after Trump. It'll be like other airports, except the international terminal only has departures. There's also a bill in Congress to add Trump to Mount Rushmore, because like Washington, he's a patriot. Like Teddy Roosevelt, he's a renegade. And like Abraham Lincoln, he's not really helping the theater scene in Washington, D.C.
Naming Dulles Airport after Trump? What's next? Turning Air Force One into a golden elevator. Bill Maher doesn't just hit, he obliterates. An airport named after Trump would be perfect, though. It only takes off, never lands in reality. And don't even get us started on the Mount Rushmore fantasy. Sure, he's like Washington, if Washington lied every 5 minutes and couldn't spell Constitution. And the Lincoln joke, devastating. I mean, he's not helping the theater scene in DC. That's not just shade, that's a full solar eclipse.
If I admit that there is a level of Trump derangement syndrome on the left, will you admit that this shit is also deranged? All the people...
Maher goes full gladiator here, basically saying, fine, we're obsessed, but you people are out here building MAGA monuments like it's a religion. And he's not wrong. Trump's fan base acts like he's the second coming of this, a spray-tanned messiah. The man's got more statues and tribute merch than actual accomplishments. And the wildest part, he loves it. That ego, bloated enough to get its own zip code, is Trump's real legacy. From casinos to coups, it's the one thing he's never filed for bankruptcy on. Next up, it only gets worse for Donnie. Much worse.
Stock market has lost $5 trillion in 3 weeks. Yes, Trump, he's the Ozempic of the economy.
Ooh. The Ozempic of the economy? That's a scorcher. Bill Maher just compared Trump's economic effect to a drug that makes you shed pounds fast. Except in this case, it's trillions of dollars, and there's no prescription strong enough to fix this mess. Trump thinks he's an economic genius, but let's be real. The only thing he's actually good at inflating is his own ego. Maher doesn't need to talk about Trump's Cheeto-colored face or the sentient roadkill he wears as hair. This is deeper. It's about a man who thinks he's the smartest person in the room, while the rest of us are just wondering how he got past security.
All the people on the right who say they certainly don't agree with me on everything, but they respect the way I keep it real about the left and like me because I'm honest, well, that's a two-way street. Are you being honest? At Trump's speech this month to a joint session of Congress, he claimed the government had spent $8 million making mice transgender. It did not. The $8 million was for transgenic mice, mice that were being genetically modified to study how hormone treatments affect human health. We were splicing their genes, not making them compete in women's sport.
This is where Maher really goes in. And honestly, bless him. Trump isn't just confused. He's out here turning science into punchlines, and somehow his followers buy it like it's on clearance at Mar-a-Lago gift shop. The man of the people, please. Trump is as working class as a gold-plated toilet. The only blue-collar workers he's ever mingled with are the ones polishing his golf clubs. He walks around pretending he's just like us. Meanwhile, the closest he's ever been to a regular American is waving at his butler while inhaling a fillet of fish. And yeah, the hypocrisy, it's not a bug, it's the whole operating system. And up next, get ready. Maher is far from letting everything slide.
And finally, new rule: the Trump administration and its elite squad of Marvel Universe mutant budget Avengers known as Doge must tell us what happened to going after the military.
Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. And, you know, the people elected me on that.
Well, today they reported back on what they found when they checked the military, and it wasn't hundreds of billions or even billions. It was 580 million out of a defense budget of almost 900 billion.
Trump promised he'd root out billions in military waste, and they found $580 million, which in Pentagon dollars is like checking your couch cushions and finding 3/4 and a stale peanut. Maher straight up turned Trump's budget Avengers into a punchline. Honestly, this administration always sounded like a low-budget crossover between The Apprentice and The X-Files. Then there's the Trump brand trademark. You remember that disaster piece collection? Trump Steaks, Trump Vodka, Trump University, a portfolio of failures wrapped in gold foil. Maher lit into Trump U like it was a scammy piñata, and rightfully so. Trump charged people thousands to teach them how to succeed in business. From a guy whose companies file for bankruptcy like it's a seasonal hobby. He's not a businessman, he's a walking Groupon for bad ideas.
Today, Greenland offered to buy us. There are CEOs out there begging Luigi Mangione to shoot them in the back of the head. Yes, it turns out that the stock market has really kind of rejected the notion that if we turn on our trading partners, chickens would lay more eggs.
And then came the economic takes. Oh boy, that went absolutely viral. Maher's bit about CEOs begging for mercy? Brutal, but also accurate. Trump's trade ideas were so bad, they made the Greenland take look rational. The only market boom he triggered was in comedy writing. And we can't forget Trump's soulmate, Twitter. The man didn't use Twitter, he lived there, tweeting at 3 a.m. like a teen who just discovered conspiracy TikTok. Maher painted it perfectly. Trump holed up with a Diet Coke, a box of Cheez-Its, and a Wi-Fi connection, acting like the world was his comment section. His tweets weren't policies, they were tantrums in 280 characters, and his presidency, it was less commander-in-chief and more chaos-in-chief. Maher summed it up like this: America rolled the dice on a loud, gold-plated gamble, and we all saw just how bad it could really get. But hold up, if you thought this roast was rough, see what happens next.
But today, Trump announced, we're building a new fighter jet, the F-47, and Trump said, we put in an order for a lot. We can't tell you the price. So what happened to fighter jets are obsolete in the age of drones? Was that just the ketamine talking?
Of course it was. The only air battle Trump understands is the one between his hairspray and a light breeze. Bill Maher didn't even have to exaggerate this one. Trump literally announced a new jet, gave it a name that sounds like a printer model, and then said, can't tell you the price. Is this military procurement or a sketchy Craigslist ad? And what happened to jets are obsolete? Oh right, That must have been the Adderall talking. Trump's ability to speak with absolute certainty while knowing absolutely nothing. It's basically his superpower. Maher made it crystal clear. Trump's mouth is like a runaway train with no brakes. Full speed ahead, no facts required. Remember when Trump tried to fix the economy by throwing tariffs at Canada like darts at a map? And this was the guy we handed the global economy to. It's like giving a raccoon the nuclear codes and hoping for a balanced budget.
Our defense budget is higher than the next 9 countries combined. It's more than triple that of our biggest adversary, China, and 8.5 times that of our closest ally, Russia.
But sure, let's buy more jets. Because when you're already spending like a toddler in a toy store with daddy's credit card, what's a few billion more? Maher didn't stop there. Oh no, he came for the ego too. Trump could win a Nobel Prize for not knowing what a Nobel Prize is and still say out loud, "I'm a genius. Nobody's smarter than me. Believe me." It's like watching someone fail a spelling bee, then demand to run the dictionary. And Maher hit the final nail. It's not just the lies or the contradictions, it's the Olympic level confidence with which Trump delivers them. He talks like a man who's read one article once in 1987 and decided he should rewrite the Constitution. And it doesn't end here.
When Biden was president, it was everything about the eggs, the price of eggs. We got to lower the price of eggs. And now Trump retweeted somebody last week who said, "Shut up about the eggs." And Americans are like, "But we need eggs. What else are we going to throw at the Teslas?"
Nothing says economic strategy like obsessing over eggs. When Biden was in office, it was a full-blown egg emergency. Now that Trump's back in the spotlight, he's literally telling people to shut up about eggs. Like he just realized chickens aren't on the Forbes list. And Maher, he cut right through it. Trump's idea of leadership is saying something absurd, pretending it's profound, and waiting for the applause. It's like watching a magician who never actually does a trick, just waves his arms and yells, "Believe me." And then there's the media. Oh boy, Trump's war on journalism isn't about truth, it's about optics. He doesn't want to fight fake news, he just wants every camera pointed at him. Maher put it best, it's the orange pot calling the press kettle fake. Except this pot has a Twitter addiction and a wig that could qualify for emergency disaster relief.
Closed power lines keep causing fires and keep not getting buried underground because it's expensive. I've heard people say, "Do you want to pay more taxes to fund this?" No. I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it.
And just like those unburied power lines, Trump's presidency kept sparking disaster after disaster. It wasn't about priorities, it was about headlines. He treated the Oval Office like it was a green room for The Apprentice. All drama, no substance. And when someone finally dared to call out his nonsense, cue the meltdown. Trump can throw shade, insults, and conspiracy theories, but the minute someone claps back, he spirals fast. Maher nailed it. Trump has the skin of a grocery store turkey slice, thin, fragile, and prone to collapse under pressure. And the wildest part, we're still watching the reruns of this reality show presidency.
You know, there's a pattern in American politics, and it's about overreaching. Whenever someone wins an election big time, and Trump kind of did, they overreach. And that seems to be what's going on. And I said, you know, maybe the best thing the Democrats can do is just be as lame as they are, and that strategy's working perfectly.
No, well...
And James Carville this week kind of one-upped it. He said, what the Democrats, I'm just asking, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it. He said, they need to just play dead, because this administration, only 5 weeks old, is making itself so unpopular that the worst thing anybody else can do is just get in the way. They're digging a hole, let them dig. That's James Carville.
That must be the applause for the whole part.
Let's be real. When James Carville is telling Democrats to play dead, you know the other side is doing just fine imploding on their own. Maher laid it out. Trump's presidency was the political equivalent of watching someone win the lottery, then immediately buy a tiger, a yacht, and a jet made of cheese. It was all overreach, all ego, and zero idea how to govern. By the end of Maher's takedown, one thing was crystal clear. Trump isn't just part of the joke. He is the joke, the self-proclaimed genius, the business mastermind, the man of the people. He's been roasted so thoroughly they could serve him at a BBQ. And after Bill Maher finished slicing through the delusion with surgical precision, Trump's bubble didn't just burst, it collapsed like one of his casinos. So the next time someone tries to sell you on Trump the legend, just remind them Bill Maher already turned him into a punchline, and we're just here for the reruns. Oh, and speaking of reruns, what Trump and his team just did next, you're gonna want to see it for yourself. Click it. It's insane.